Overwhelmed. Max can show guys here showed up to the Havasu shop, and there was a bunch of people here, which is a good thing. Got a really good friend of mine, Jason Ayers, who owns a company called Dirt to Dunes over in Las Vegas, Nevada. They do a ton of side-by-side work from the sand dune side of things all the way to the desert stuff with race cars. So he's very familiar with the Polaris products. He brought his buddy Michael over today. Actually came in last night in the car. They wanted to put it inside, so I let him put it in the building, obviously. So I'm going to try to do the best walk-around comparison that I can potentially do without being biased. On the other side, Jason really has no dog in this fight. He sells tons of Polaris accessories. He does a bunch of Can-Am stuff. Obviously, he would like to do speed stuff once we get going, but we got production customer cars here that we got to get out before we can worry about the next piece of the business. So, Jason, let's do a walk around. What did you bring here as a Polaris to do this comparison?
So I brought a Polaris Pro R Sport. The reason we brought the Sport was that we were actually reading comments last night and noticed that a lot of people were referring to electric shocks. So when we got this car, I thought it would be I want to put it next to your car and see how it stacked up. But I wanted the same model like what you have, not a car with electric shocks. We brought a sport model with the same shock, non-electric. It's in comparison to what you have, and it would be something in line with your LEDs.
Cool. We don't have mics on, so if we could talk a little louder, we'll have to yell here a little bit so that people can hear on the other side. But what I have here with a speed car, this is vehicle number 26. This is a customer car. This is our LE car, which is not our RG. It's not our top of the line. It's our middle car as well. But you know, one of the things that the first thing is with a Polaris, you get a couple choices of colors. Here at Speed, even your LE car, you get to choose what you want it to look like. You can sit with your family, sit with your friends, you can pick it out, make it just a little bit more custom. But that's just graphics. Obviously, you could do that to a Polaris, but then that would be another additional expense. What do you think of the graphic packages, just now that you've seen them here in the shop and the choices that people get to make?
They're awesome. Honestly, the online does no justice for the cars. The availability of it and the color options you get is, if you take a look around,
let's go walk around.
White and orange, black and orange.
Let's go to this one. This is a good looking car.
Yeah, it's a great looking car.
I'm going to say that is a car I could see in my garage. Okay. Being an avid off-roader, I think it's a great looking car.
I think Polaris did a great job on coloring on this one. It's a very, very popular color. Ford uses it on the Raptors, Chevy uses it as well. The color package as far as matte black and a cement gray looks really good. So.
Yeah, and then that's obviously why we rolled the black and gray one over. If you look through here, Max, you can see our gray looks pretty similar, but walk up when you look close at the gray. What is that? That is our carbon, so it's got the detail. So the customer gets to choose what he wants, and this is just another fair option. So,
and to make it pretty close, all your suspension is pretty close to that Polaris color if you look at the plastics.
Yeah, our suspension is actually really close to the color of that Polaris. I knew we threw a little bit of metallic in there. I think Max came to me the other day and said, "Hey, when you put a flashlight on your suspension, you know there's a little bit of blue glitter in there." I'm like, "Yeah, that was by design. I just wanted to have a little extra detail." Let's walk over and look at just a couple other LE vehicles that we have in the facility, Max. This is another LE. This is a blue option. This car 31, and then we have this car here, number 6, which is another LE. And we can walk over here and see car number 14, and that's another LE, which would be a similar model car. And then obviously car number 8, which has been here for a while. Let's walk back over. We'll start getting into actual comparisons. What are the differences? What would each vehicle potentially have an advantage in? Which one doesn't? So let's start at the front and we'll work our way back. I think that's probably the right place.
Let's touch on those graphics one more time, Rob. Is the good thing about your car is when you buy a model from Polaris Can-Am, you get that basic color. With yours, you get the free upgrade for picking the colors, correct? So you get to basically pick your sticker package, which is a free upgrade.
A free upgrade, and it's probably a $750 to $1,000 option.
If you call some of the companies out there, you have them wrap them for you. Proline does good wraps. Those guys all do. They're all $700,
so we'll
$2,000.
We got this as a background instead.
Yeah, so you really get the free upgrade there as well. So it kind of saves you $2,000 right off the bat, $1,500, whatever the number is. already because it's installed. So you add the cost of the wrap plus labor. That's a bonus right there as far as not having it.
All right, so we're gonna start at the front. Let's start at front. Let's start at front suspension, and we'll work our way to the back. So from the front, Max, when you do a walk around, you can start with the Polaris car and then just walk straight over to the speed car. Zoom in on some just basic details. All right, let's stay in the front. Let's stay in the front focus. Let's start this one more time back over the speed car, and then we'll start the left front tire. All right, let's start with the tire itself. We'll start with a 32-inch tall tire.
Yeah, so what we did is we put the tape to both cars. We made sure they were pretty much in the same trim. Yours comes like this, Rob.
Yeah, I'm looking for my
Basic
tape
like
measure
this.
again.
The 32-inch speed tall tire. We put a 33-inch coil on that one and put the tape to both cars. At ride height at the lowest point. Do you have that tape, Rob?
I'm looking for it. I don't know what I did with it.
Right there.
Oh, there it is. All right, we're
This
unboxing.
would be in a race trim package, if you would.
So-
in this car.
Yeah, so as Jason said, we start with a 32-inch tall tire, and it's kind of funny when these things really measure out. And this is a 31 and probably a quarter. 31 and about a quarter. When you try to get dead level across, Max, can you shoot across the top of that tire? And about a 31 and a quarter. All right, almost 32. And then this is a 32-inch tall tire. We'll move over to this vehicle, which has a great tire on it, has a Toyo on it.
33.
And this is their 33. And as we throw the tape measure across it, it's actually shorter than my 32 speed tire.
Both with 20 pounds of air.
Both have 20 pounds of air pressure. Then we'll go to the wheels. So this car has a KMC wheel, who I was associated with before. They make great products. Scroll over here. This is our new patented speed wheel. They're both bead locks, but the biggest difference is I was able to get a better positive outside face because the bead lock is actually the wheel face. So there is no bead lock ring. Slide back over here, Max. There's no bead lock ring that you see here. And by doing that, that allowed me to bring the wheel face farther out by about an inch, which what that does, it gives me longer A-arms. With longer A-arms, you get less track change. So geometry-wise, I was better to get better kingpin inclination, longer A-arms, less track change. All starting with the wheel. So a lot of people rip me up as, why don't you just buy KMC wheels? Why don't you buy this tire? We started at the tire patch and then worked our way to the roof. And we thought of every little aspect of the vehicle all the way through. And it started with the wheels. So we start with the wheels. We're really not gonna be able to see much with a wheel on. We could pull a wheel off as we get them jacked up later, and we can talk about that. But let's go to kingpin inclination. That's something very, very important that a lot of people don't think about. All right? So as you see, our car, as the speed car, is a front steer car. And you look at your kingpin inclination, and you hit your top point to your bottom point to the center of your tire, and it hits about dead perfect. If you look and scroll those down and drew an imaginary line across those bolts, it's going to land dead middle in the tire. So it has good scrub radius. Also, it's front steer. Now we'll go over to the Polaris, and we'll look at their kingpin inclination. All right, if I was to draw an imaginary line on this tire, it's not far off. I would say it's about an inch to the inside, which gives it a little more scrub radius. All right, this car has ball joints. The speed car has monoballs. All right, lower A-arms. We did not do this, but let's go ahead and measure it. Let's measure the length of the lower A-arm. Max, need to stay over here, but Jason, go ahead and do that. I'll hold the camera. Let's go basically roughly from the pivot point to the center of the pivot. What do we see in there?
27 and a quarter.
27 and a quarter. All right, let's go over the speed car and see what the lower A-arm is. A little easier to get pivot to pivot on this one. "31 inches. So the A-arm alone is 3 inches longer, 4 inches each side. 4 inches each side, but Ironically, with this car, with this wheel package, they both are exactly the same width. There's the stock arm on the Polaris. Check out the weld quality. Over here, we're going to go to the speed one. Stock arm, weld quality, as good as any trophy truck out there. It's wire fed, maybe not a TIG welded one, but it's a wire fed truck. Monoballs on the outside. Inserted into the billet bulkhead, or the cast bulkhead, is 17.4 stainless inserts with crushed tubes and bearings and bushings and seals. This is a production part versus a production part. And if you were to go and say, okay, I'm going to buy an upgraded A-arm like the speed car for my Polaris, you're looking at a probably $750 to $1,000 per A-arm price to be boxed like we are. Spindle, ball joint spindle versus monoball spindle. Aftermarket, you were to go build that spindle out of 70, 75 like this is, you're looking at a $750 to $1,000 part just for the spindle. All right, perfect. We started at the front. We worked our way through the front. Started with ball joints, spindles, tires, wheels.
While we're on the front end, Rob, let's touch base on field of vision.
Let's go. Field of vision.
How far out you can see, seating position, seating height. That'll tell you a little bit about the center of gravity, where things are as far in correlation to seat height. Also visibility, side view, peripheral view, forward view. Big difference when you're driving the holes. You're on racetrack, seeing a corner, seeing everything there, and seating position.
All right. Well, Jason, you're a big guy. So
6'4".
6'4".
Yep, 6'4".
Why don't you do the seating position? Because that'll get you up higher, which should really change our height vision and what you can see, what you can't see. Now, let's also start with where your head's at in the vehicle. You got plenty of room above you. There's your hand, and if I was to shoot it, you got probably 8 inches above your head.
Enough for a helmet.
How high is his eyeballs off the ground, Max? So this is all center of gravity stuff. That in motorsports, we look at all the weights and center of gravity. I'm going to shoot across there. I'm going to say his eyeball is right there. And that is 57.5 inches is to your eyeballs. Let's do the field of vision now, Jason. And let's talk about what we're talking about field of vision.
So field of vision would be when you're placing the car as far as what you can see, peripheral from left to right, and also depth, where you can start picking up the ground as close as you can from the front bumper out. Very important, cornering, and dust, anything that you're in. If you're just trail riding with your buddies, anything that's here that you don't see, if you have objects in your eyes, you won't see them out of the corners. And a lot of times that's what's very hard for people to do, is see out of the corners. They might tag a rock, rip a corner off, something like that. It's very, very, very important to make sure. We did stick a tape to that, Rob, and we measured the inside pillar width on the cage and kind of get that. And then also the depth, how far out from seating position to the ground, what we can see from here on out.
All right, cool. So basically we're going to start with, let's go with the front to my feet. And where you see my feet from the front, as I'm walking farther away.
Right there.
All right, we wrote that down earlier. Max, would you grab a tape measure for me, please? Put it at the front bumper and bring it, since somebody helped him set it at the distance of the front bumper. And we're going to set this tape measure. This is going to be a long video today. It's going to be at the vision of straight down. Okay, I'm a little off. So 10.8 is not it. Are you at the front of the tires? You need to come to the front of the tires. All right, so yeah, we are 10 foot 8 inches to the front of the tire. And
if you can go center line, Rob.
Yep.
So you take center line to the left
Yep. Okay, perfect. We're gonna do that as well, Jason. Thank you. So let's go center line there, 10 foot 8 inches. Now, Max, let's go to where Jason loses vision as I'm walking over here.
About right there, Rob.
About right here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, about right there. And what he's looking at is I'm looking at his eyes to the A post. Max, let's go from that center line over there to my feet over here. Center line over there. Right where that dot is right there. That one over there. Can you see the center? Right here. This guy. There.
So where, Jason?
Tell us where we're at, Jason. Right there. Put that flat on the ground. Right at 6 feet, 72 inches. Okay? So we're at
That one.
72 inches. 6 foot. 6 foot, 72 inches. Now Jason's going to climb over to the other car and sit in the Polaris. And we're going to do a visual of what you can see in the Polaris. All right. Forgot what we were on height-wise to the center of the eyeballs. Does anybody remember that for me? No? All right. Huh? 57 to the eyeballs. And let's shoot around to the eyeballs. And I'm going to hold it.
Zoom out. You're too zoomed in.
Too zoomed in. Okay, thank you. 57 versus 63. So 6 inches you sit higher in this vehicle. And how much do you weigh, Jason?
185 pounds.
You don't weigh 185 pounds.
The weekend.
Maybe when you were Max's age. All right. Are you 240 pounds?
A little lighter, yeah.
A little lighter, 260?
Yeah, about that.
About 260. All right.
Bad bod season.
All right. Cool.
So, and just for the record, Rob, we did set the right heights. They're all the same. We did touch on that. So it's not like one car's higher than the other. They're both pretty close, within an inch.
Yeah.
16 and 3/4. I think we were on that one. About 16, almost 17 on this car. So they're pretty close in correlation. Same size tires. So they give you an idea. We're 6 inches higher seating position, but there could be a benefit to that as far as visuals going forward on field of vision. So.
Right. So obviously, their field of vision, by sitting higher, you might be able to see farther, right?
Over the hood.
Over the hood, farther out. Okay, so let's go.
Center of gravity going up 6 inches. makes
So
the
basically,
car
I raised 260 pounds, 210, 210. Let's go with 260. All right. This guy is a monster compared to me. Okay. I bring him to the bars to be my friend. Okay. But
then why do I pay the bill every time?
Well, that's because you're a nice guy too. So you pay the bill, and you're my personal bouncer. So, but on the other side of it, we just took 260 pounds, 250 pounds, 240 pounds, whatever the weight is, and we raised it 6 inches higher. And common sense means you basically made the car more tippy. So we've got a unbiased but real advantage in the Speed UTV based on center of gravity, rollover capabilities by sitting lower in the car.
We did put a tape to the cage as well. So
Yep.
getting going forward on that.
Yep, let's go back forward to the vision. What was this one you said?
Well, the KC light bar is 39 outside.
Let's use
So I think we were right there at 40.
39, 40. Want to throw a tape measure? Let's go right here about field of vision height. Let's go insides, okay? And then we'll go and get the speed car as well. Field of vision, we are 37 1/4. Let's go check out the speed car real quick, just so we're comparing apples to apples. Field of vision. What number you got there on the inside of that tube, Max?
46 and a half.
46 and a half. So 46 and a half, how much? 10 inches?
37 here.
37, almost a 10 and a half inch wider roll cage. 9.5 inches roll cage, just in the roll cage. And what that does is it keeps your head farther away from the ground if you do tip over. The other thing is the speed car comes with the front intrusion bars, which are also lateral supports. If you do hit the roll cage, it doesn't bend over. So those hold it left and right with the spine down through the roll cage. And another set of V-bars in the back. With the Polaris, there is no center bar. There is no lateral support. So basically, I've got 2x4s standing up in the air with no support left to right.
And we did put a tape on the inside cab width, and they were identical, correct?
They were same width as the new.
We did go door to door. So production side, they're pretty exactly the same interior width, which was nice to know. But they came in a little bit on here. So obviously the Safety of this, like you say, is lateral inside. The field of view is not as good, but interior width is just as good as your car and the same measurements. So it actually fills room in here. Like that. So they did a really good job on that.
Well, thank you. But I think, the biggest thing is we focused on a lot of safety. Now, Polaris came in and they added this taco gusset, we call it in the off-road industry. They added this taco gusset. I stepped ahead and went off and patented the front A-post support bar. So basically I got a triangle like a bridge built into the front of our car, which protects this bar from coming down. And this is a standard option. And it just doesn't go to the cage. It actually unbolts and comes all the way to the floor. So this triangle is basically a beam structure at the front of the car.
So Rob, you want to go back out there? And
Let's do the vision. Yep, let's go. So field of view, you want to tell me when you see my feet, and can someone help Max set that tape at the front of the tires? Toes? All right, sit back in the seat like you're in drive. Okay, perfect.
Front of the tires, right?
Front of the tires? Front of the tires.
Touching.
No, front of the tire. Is that about it? All right, and you want to give me where we're at?
right there.
Right there. So, in comparison, 13 feet, 7 inches.
11 feet, 7 inches.
11 feet, sorry. 11 feet, 7 inches versus 10 feet, 8 inches over here. So, almost a foot, 11 inches more vision there. Now let's do our cross vision left to right. Your center line is right here. See that line there? Just come from here though, so we don't go at an angle. Oh no, sorry, I have to go from the same distance. We're gonna go from the 10-foot mark. So we're at 10 feet, that's a mark 10 feet from the front of the tires over to here. And lay that, put the lock on and just let it sit there, Max. Set the lock. All right, I'm gonna start at the center. Jason, you want to tell me when to stop stepping? Right there. So let's go with 40 inches versus 72. So basically, you got your vision choked into a tunnel by 3 feet at the 10-foot mark. So this is really important for your basic rock crawling, slow speed stuff. The high speed stuff, I don't think matters as much, right? I mean, you're looking farther out, longer down the road.
100%. Especially next week, going to King of the Hammers, something like this would be very, 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 very important. Going to the Hammers next week, being able to see what's in front of you, obstacles both sides, everything from the side views. This really is impacting their vision tremendously. It almost like gets rid of 60% of your peripheral. From the driver's side, passenger side, still decent.
Yep.
It's good, but you definitely you can feel the difference when you sit in the seat as far as how much the tunnel is closing in on you and what your field of vision is out of the seat. So definitely a major improvement on that side versus this car.
All right, perfect. And like I said, guys, I'm doing my best not to be biased here. We're just playing real numbers, back to back. Now, these cars both weigh about the same.
Correct. Yeah, this one was actually on the scales. We had it a bit over 2,500. There's minimal amount of accessories on here. We did wheels and tires, forged wheel, so it's on the lighter side of the wheels, a 33-inch tire, not a 35. So it's pretty close in comparison to that. And it was a tad over 2,500. So
Yeah, we're a tad under 2,500, so we're about 2,470 with a spare tire in the back and a box. I added a box and spare tire to the speed car, so it would be comparable. They're both sitting on about the same size tires. They both have very similar seats. This have 5-point harnesses in it?
it does.
Has 5-point harness, so both cars have
Those
5
are
points?
aftermarket.
Oh, you paid extra for the 5-point
paid
harness.
extra. The seats and the belts was actually an extra upgrade. Obviously, the customer wanted something a little nicer, so that's where this one.
So this is one of your Dirt to Dunes builds.
It is. Michael Spain there brought
Okay.
it in.
Michael, you want to join us over here?
This is one of his second cars. He started a Turbo S, and then was looking around, obviously, and he ended up picking up this car and said he wanted mild mods and what we could do off of that. So
Cool. Michael, how are you?
How are you?
Doing good, man. Hey, thanks for allowing us to do the walk around with your car and undress your car like this. I really, it I appreciate it. Okay, first and foremost, and obviously when you bought your Polaris, you had never seen a Speed UTV in person, and you really didn't know. It was all hoopla or all smoky mirrors on the internet that Robby Gordon was going to build this car. And I'm speaking about myself here, that Speed was going to build this car and it was going to come to market. Now I ask you on this car, without if you can get roughly close, before you did your modifications, what did this vehicle cost? $44,000 out the door.
We were able to get a little bit better of a price, but that's kind of the going price for this one.
About $44,000 out the door as a mid-road Polaris 4-cylinder Pro R.
Coming from a Turbo S, that's why this changed for me personally. Coming from a Turbo S to this model was the motor was number one. Number two was just a different platform, just to give a shot. Like you mentioned, when this whole thing started with the Speed opportunity and the talk, and obviously it was all pictures. So
right.
when we all were interested, and I remember being in Baja pre-running and talking to friends that actually placed a car order, and how excited we were about the opportunity, and how hopefully it changed the market, changed the game. But now looking at the details, literally the measurements to measurements, and one of the things that I will say is a Turbo S to this model, it's a night and day upgrade. It's really been a really enjoyable car, and instead of throwing everything at it from the very beginning, we've kind of done it in small stages. Suspension first, wheels and tires, seats, just kind of getting the basics.
It didn't need much.
Polaris did a really good job as far as their previous cars. The Turbo S, the Carter for that, they were a great foundation, but needed quite a bit of improvements dollar-wise. You had to put pretty good amounts of money in it. Polaris foundation on this did a really good job from the motor to the car. There's a few downs, but as far as the pros in this car, they did a really good job for foundation, and especially for a guy like me who's an aftermarket accessory company. We're driven to provide customers with upgrades and stuff like that. Polaris did a good job. They went with something like you did. They have a great foundation, and didn't need much to make it a good car, a great car for Mike to take the desert.
Perfect. So Mike, can I ask you another question, if it's not too personal? What do you think you have in labor and accessories
I took him for a ride.
to get this car?
Is my significant other watching?
Yeah, go ahead. Just give us.
Everybody's laughing because everybody knows.
How much?
Let's just say retail. Let's just say I've got 12 in it right now.
So this is really now a $56,000 car?
Let's say 12, 10 to 12, and we're obviously the cage isn't. We've literally done step by step.
Very mild, Rob. We haven't got there.
$12,000 mile.
Yes.
Okay.
But that was with good upgrades. I mean, that was forged wheels from KMC. That was Toyo tires. I mean, suede seats.
Right.
Just good, tasteful mods that were, something for him to go
Yeah,
with. So
and he's a buddy, so you worked him a deal, right?
I did. Yeah,
All
I
right.
took his head off on labor, but we gave him a deal on the parts. No, we just did KC stuff, a lot of small bolt-on stuff, just where he was basically built what he needed,
Right.
and to make it live. So right now, modestly, probably 10 to 12, somewhere in there.
All right, so let's just go 11 because I want to remove the lights, okay?
Yeah.
Because we don't have lights on the Speed car, so
Okay.
let's remove the lights. Let's say it's $11,000. So now this is a $55,000 vehicle versus this vehicle was originally bought at I think $32,000. All right. Obviously, I way overbuilt from when I started the project, and we can walk back and show you what I sold customers on at the very end of this video, because I think people should understand what we sold you guys on and actually then what we built. So we'll do that at the very, very end of this video.
And that being an LE model. and
That's
a
an
sport
LE.
model, so
Yep.
they're pretty comparable.
Pretty
Polaris
comparable.
does have two models above this. One just offshores, obviously the ride command, but then the Fox live valve. But in comparison, the cars are on the same level. So
All right, perfect. But $11,000 more or if you were to look at the early buyers, $22,000 more than the early buyers that bought at Sand Sports.
correct.
Okay, so
And then, and in all fairness, the next time in, he's got another list of upgrades. It was probably going to be pretty close to that as well.
another 10 again.
Probably, yeah.
So he's gonna be about 65,000, and then this car now, as it sits, is more in the 45,000. So it's still about a $20,000 cheaper car than what he'll end up with. It's $10,000 cheaper today. This does have two more pistons though.
Yep.
How much power?
225.
225,
We haven't had
and
it on a dyno, but it's 225 with the crank.
all right, and we have 225. So 225 as our low model. With a speed key, it's 300. So when we do the dirt comparison later today, I will be on gasoline. I'll pull over to the gas station and fill it up with gasoline. We'll make sure that we're both on the same fuels, and see where we perform. Now, I do expect this car to jump us a little bit on the front.
That was my prediction.
My prediction as well. I think with our throttle control that I have built into the ECU for, I hate to say traction control, but it has a little bit of traction control put into it. So I do expect guys to jump us just a little bit, but I would say about 300 feet down the road, it'll be very interesting to see where we're at. Maybe we just maintain, maybe we creep ahead, maybe we fall behind, but we're going to find out. So that's going to be pretty cool, the performance side of this that we're going to do here in a couple hours.
Yeah, well, we can't do that. We're going to the UTV Worlds track, so we will be on a race course.
Oh, we're going to be on a race course. Okay.
So we'll be able to have a fair comparison.
Yeah, but we could play in the parking lot a little bit. We could do a little bit of parking lot accelerations.
Yeah, we could do that, definitely.
And we could hit the highway on the way there. You guys driving them on the highway or trailing them?
If you were, we'll drive them on the highway.
All right, we're going to drive them on the highway. And I'm going to drive mine. Mine's street legal. So you're street legal? Today it is?
We got the chupacabra mirrors. That's the part we're on.
Oh, yeah, you got chupacabra mirrors. So you do have your mirrors. All right, now let's move in. Let's just go in the interior. Sorry, you were in the Polaris. Do you want to go Polaris interior first?
Sure.
All right,
The ergonomics of the Polaris, how it's functionally laid out, how everything sits from the driver's seat. Basically, they would call it the cockpit.
Now you've also got a pad in there. Did you include that in the cost as well, or no?
No, that's
another $1,000 addition.
Yeah, that's on the customer what model they buy. But honestly, nowadays with so many people using Lead Nav, Onyx, Gia, so many different platforms for GPS and nav.
Yeah.
Polaris does obviously offer the ride command, but that's one good thing about this car is you can put whatever
cool.
in there. So it's kind of on him. But yeah.
So let's just say ergonomic wise, it's got a dash. Want to open up the glove box and see what it looks like? Let's sit inside the car, kind of look away around. This does have a radio and intercom, and it does have a dash.
So big
there's the glove box.
That's the glove box.
All right, let's check out the glove box.
Secondary box.
Let's look at the glove box and kind of get a size comparison. Decent sized little box up top.
Did a good job.
That's okay. That's all good.
Interior cup holders in the console. You have a third one in the center. So you have two here, a third one up front.
Oh, that's a nice little area down there.
A pocket down there.
I do like that pocket. That pocket's a pretty clean little deal.
They did offer a second glove box in the center.
All right.
Which
awesome.
Actually they did a good job. You take that out.
Yeah.
You can reach all your electronics from the backside dash to there. So accessibility is pretty good.
All right. And you've added the Beard 5-point harnesses. And these are the over center latches. I see the over center latch over there.
Yep.
And on the speed car, it comes standard with 5-point cam locks. So let's go to the speed car now inside. Jason, you want to sit back inside the speed car and talk about it? Or you want to stand from the outside so we can see?
Stand from the outside?
All right, we'll stand from the outside. You stay on that side, I'll stay on this side.
So
looking at the dashes, they have a lot of same options. We left a spot there to be able to install the radio, which is something we did a couple years ago when I did the combination package. Steering wheel.
You guys did like a cant, like some sort of degree of the dash. You changed the dash, basically conforming the dash into the driver.
Into more like a cockpit, like an airplane.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like, I watch a lot of videos on a lot of builders, a lot of guys work for you, a guy named Morgan Clark. He always uses the term form follows function. So when you sit in the driver's seat, what is the function of the driver's seat, what you're doing? It looks like, for as far as accessibility on this stuff, it's all conformed to the driver, which is what the driver should be doing, getting his needs met, shifting, four-wheel drive, any switches, stuff like that, dash. So that's really nice. It does conform to you don't have to reach, especially if you're at the wheel.
And it's got a massive tilt wheel.
Big tilt wheel.
And the dash does go with the tilt wheel. I think the dash on the Polaris does as well, so that's very similar. Here's an option that comes standard is a $300 steering wheel. So it comes with a proper race style steering wheel, which is a custom design with our new square design, so that we can actually see into the dash and be able to see all the functions. Why don't we turn the dash on this one? Unfortunately, this one does not have the battery hooked up yet, so I'm going to have to walk over to 18 to look at the dash on it, but it's going to be the same configuration, okay? So let's do a dash turn on. Dash turns on, and there is your Polaris dash. Do you have some options of changing the dash?
Yes, so you can change the coloring. Polaris gives you an option to change the coloring.
Yep.
You can change, obviously, through the menu volts, temperature, stuff like that. They give you an option as far as performance buttons. So on the throttle, you were talking about
Yep.
traction control earlier.
Yep.
There's a three-position switch there, which gives you race, sport, and rock mode. So it gives you the things you were talking about. You get traction control, which falls on the ECU. This you can actually use the switch you're putting. That'll change the display up on the heads up as well. But as far as anything else changing on this model, it's a base model. You don't have any other options as far as that goes.
Perfect. Let's go over and look at the speed dash. I want to show you power off here so we don't kill it. All right. Unfortunately, I don't have the battery hooked up on that vehicle, so I'll have to come over here to car number 8, and hopefully the dash will turn on. Now, we have our computer set up over there, which on this car has been one of our test cars. And I'll click the button here, and we'll do a dash turn on program.
So same thing. You have an option for.
Yeah. So that's our computer. So we've got it hooked up to the engine management system, and basically you're using it for lead nav. I'm using it for engine management. Very similar. And then there's the dash on the speed. But let me show you some options that we do get. So you get to change your dash by touching different options. You have all the functions you need. You have your water temp, your battery voltage, engine temp, different riding, tire pressure sensors. So you got onboard tire pressure sensors and onboard tire temps. You have your standard. You get all your things there, as well as belt temperature and different functions. As well as here, you don't have to have an additional dash. You can actually screen mirror from your phone that you already own, and it goes into the dash location, and that gives you your mapping through there. Then you come over to the next one, and you got a function again that gives me my race sensors, very similar to what I'm used to looking for on my trophy truck or IndyCar, stuff like that. I've got my speedometer, I've got my gear position, and then over here I've got my another GPS location. Then over here I have all my same functions, and I got my camera in the front. It's not hooked up on this car right now, but the camera goes in the location. This right here is another GPS location, which turns into a big GPS screen. It allows you to lead nav, maps.me, Google Maps, whatever you want to do right from your phone straight in there. I did design the roof up here that the Starlink does fit up in there. So it fits under the cover, inside the roof. It's protected by the plastic, but it is on top of the roll cage, but you can easily add Starlink. So now you've got connection everywhere. Then you got your front and your rear cameras. Like I said, this car does not have, it's one of our test cars. Then I got my maintenance program built in there. It tells you what you got to maintenance, what the functions are and how to do it. And then over here I have my general information. How do you change a belt? You can flick through the thing. I'll play my video. The video will play for you, tell you remove this, take this off, and you can change your belt. Then you can go do the job.
It looks like about 7 different pages.
About 7 or 8 different pages. Let me click through them. Let's see how many pages.
And so Robby,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. I'm glad we did that. 9 pages of different general information. Basic general information to make your riding experience more comfortable. As you see on this test car, we've got the radio and intercom. It just plugs right into those dots. And then we've got our kicker sound system there. This car's got a stereo in it. And let's go back over to the regular cars. This was just a dash walk around. This video is going to be a lot longer than what I originally anticipated, just because there's so many different features. Sorry about this, Jason. I asked him, hey, can we shoot a quick little video?
I'm just excited to get the desert. Put him to work.
All right, Jason wants to go desert. I want to go to the desert. We should probably have broken this thing down in a couple different options, but let's go to the back of the car.
Let's go from front to back. So track width. How close
All
are
right.
you on track width?
Track width. Let's go front to back. Let's start at the front. Outside tire, just hit the bulge. We'll walk over here. We've got the tape measure set up now. Right at 77 inches to the bulge, okay? Let's go to the Polaris with the KMC Toyos on it, and we'll go to the bulge. And right at 78 inches in the front. Now, this wheel is not as positive offset as this wheel, which makes the car wider. So aftermarket wheels probably make this car wider, and this car comes out at 78 in the front. Let's go to the back.
And from front to back, we did do wheelbase.
Oh, well,
Hub,
wheelbase,
would
yes.
be 120 on your car.
120 of wheelbase
Center of hub to center of hub.
versus
34.
134. So the Polaris is 14 inches longer
Wheelbase.
which that could potentially help you in the big bumps, but would hurt you in your left-right rotations and high centering going over the dunes, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now we'll go to the rear of the car. So speed car is 14 inches shorter.
Center hub.
Center hub wheelbase is what we call that. I'm going to go over here to the rear. And we're going to come to the back of this car. And I'm going to say it's right at 77.5 inches. I'm going to go over the speed car.
And Rob, that's at static right height. That is.
This is both at static. Yep, both at static. No track change. We'll move it a little closer. And just go over here. So we're doing back same to same. We'll do it again on that. We're right at the edge of the tire bulge. Right at the edge of the tire bulge. About 77.5. So same width in the back. All right. Let's we'll try to speed this up. Back of the car. Storage. Speed UTV. I added a storage box to this. Put a spare tire in it.
Place to hang out and chill.
Also got the tailgate. All right. Come over here to the Polaris. We have raised the spare tire. Let's call it 100 pounds tire and wheel, roughly.
Nope. 44 and 15.
Okay. So 70 pounds, 65 pounds. We have raised the spare tire up. And I'm going to say we're up top of the tire.
41.
41.
We go to the top of here. It's going to be.
No, top tire.
I'm going from the bottom of where it was mounted at.
Oh, you went to the bottom?
If you want to go top tire, that's fine.
Let's go top.
65 and a half.
65.5.
Versus
51 inches. So
14 and a half.
have lowered their spare tire again.
14
Center of gravity, 14.5 inches. Same thing with the storage box. Have lowered that probably about 10 inches on the storage box, wouldn't you say?
Yes, sir.
I'd say it's pretty close to about 10 inches lower.
If you take a step back, you can overall see the roof height and how where the weight is on the car. You see the spare tires up higher, obviously, the bed much higher, motor location, axle height, diff like the pumpkin on the diff.
Yeah, they all look.
You can see they're pretty close, but obviously a little bit higher on this side. And with the right height being exactly the same, we measured the back out as well. It was in a quarter inch. So.
And if I was to measure overall height of the vehicles, would you say just visually probably 10 to 12 inches lower?
Exactly.
So the weight of the roll cage is actually 10 or 12 inches lower as well. So we've got the seating position that you gain distance in the front. Yep. You see more left and right with the Speed UTV, and we've lowered the car roughly a foot. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
About everywhere. 6 inches in the driver's
The
position.
skid plate being exactly the same.
Yep. So let's. What we did here is we went to the lowest part on the Polaris, and I went to that pivot point right there. And as you can see, it's about right at 14.25 inches. And we pick it up to our trailing arm pivot point here. Let's go to this one down here. It's a little lower. Right at 14 inches as well. So the ride height is about the same at the lowest point of the car. And we did the fronts, and they were roughly the same as well, weren't they?
Correct.
Within a quarter inch.
Correct.
Amazingly close. Wheelbase, ride heights,
Correct.
widths, etc. All right,
I think we got a couple minutes. We can grab Cole and Max. Let's slide some jacks under it.
All right.
Shoot them up in there and see if we can check.
All right, we got it.
Group in them, and then I say we head to the desert.
I like it. We're gonna head to the desert for you, Max and Cole. Let's get these things jacked up. So these are some speed jacks that I've got coming. They are pretty awesome. So go ahead and let's roll these over there, and they will be available on speedtools.com. This is part of our jacking system, and hopefully it'll reach under there. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and jack this one up. Max, move it off the bodywork there, please, a little bit. There we go. And I think you got to go backwards just a little. Huh? Okay, I'll pick it up for you. All right, go ahead and start jacking right there. These are our new Speed Tools jacks that we have. We've got for the cars, and it picks up our car. I'm pretty sure it will pick up the Polaris as well. We got to pick that up towards the rear, guys. Come back as far as you can. A little more. Okay. All right, right there, Max. Come on down. Come on down. Just drop yours down. Right there. You're good, Cole. All right. Now we're going to do the walk around at the rear. Let's check out the Polaris right there. And then let's do our track change, Jason.
All right, that's the first thing I'm measuring.
That's the first thing, huh? All right.
67 the outside tire.
All right, remember we were at 77 inches, both cars. The Polaris is now down at 66.5 to 67 inches. Let's go measure the speed UTV. Rear track change. Lock it in there, Jason.
75.
And we have, because I have positive camber built into the trailing arms, we now go to 75 inches. So we are 10 inches wider in this most highest tippy position. All right. But here is the part that I tried to explain to people that they've all missed on. When you go to this pivot point and you push to this point, what does it do? It jacks the tire under the car, raises the back of the car up, and they want to tip over. With the Speed UTV, you look at this height, it's about my belt height. Over here is just a little above my knee. And this pivot point is lower than this, so it actually jacks the car down. It's a completely different roll center, completely different geometry, which makes the car a lot safer with regards to being tippy. So, back of the cars, both of them jacked up. Speed car still looks like it's same stance. The Polaris got really narrow. A lot of scrub. This is where I have to cross under my unbiased. We are a decade ahead of all these guys by a long ways.
And even the normal consumer, Rob, can tell that. When you drive down the trail and the track changes, going like this, the camber curve gets so big, the car gets a shimmy and wiggle in it. It gets uncomfortable, especially for newbies that don't understand what this feels like. Where that car, when you have a perfect track and everything's going straight, it's
just goes straight.
You can let your hands off the wheel on the big bumps and it goes straight. So.
All right, let's check the fronts, and then this will be the end of this walk around. Let's go to the front, track change. Right there. Lock it in. 65 inches. And that moved again. Same, about 10 inch of track change. This is where the longer A-arms that I was talking about earlier come into play, plus the camber change that we have built in to the A-arms. As you look now, this has negative camber built in, negative camber built in. This has positive camber built in. We have narrowed up in the front with its 24 inches of wheel travel to 73 inches. Where the Polaris narrowed up 10 inches, we narrowed up 4 inches. So there's your initial walk around between the Speed UTV and the Polaris Pro R. And you can see the difference. Obviously, look at the A-arms. The angle of those A-arms built on a shorter axle, a shorter A-arm, versus a longer axle, longer A-arm. All right? Jason, thank you very, very much for doing this walk around with me today. It was pretty cool.
Yep, I appreciate it, Rob. Thanks for having me and letting us bring our cars by. I think we should go to the desert. Maybe find somebody here that's unbiased between you and I and let them take a spin in each car and give their personal feedback. And then we'll go find a rough section and run the cars there and maybe do a quick video for the customers there.
We'll do another video. We'll add to this. Thank you very, very much for everybody for tuning in. Exciting times.
Thanks, Rob.
I'm going to go ahead and flick over to a couple of customers that actually got to sit in on this. All right, owner of a vehicle. What do you think?
It's pretty amazing to see in person, and it's really eye-opening to see when you're measuring and you're going through, and this has been a really great car. We've loved having it, and we've put a lot of miles on it quickly and really enjoying it, but seeing the difference is pretty eye-opening.
Well, thank you. And I like I said, I think until Speed UTV came to market, this was the leader. And it might still be the leader in a drag race. We're going to find out here in a little while, right?
We are.
All right, I look forward to this one. What do you guys think?
Oh, they're beautiful. We have number 35 ordered, and we just can't wait to get it.
All right, is it what you thought it was going to be?
It's more.
More.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Especially with
Should we go look at what I sold you guys
Yeah.
originally? Come on. Sand Sports. I'm going to go ahead and flick my camera up. At Sand Sports 2019, I brought, I don't know what I say, a 4-seat car that we built over at the speed shop. And it was based off a car that we had built in the past. And this is what we sold customers. And obviously, please, take it with a grain of salt. We got a lot of miles on it. But here's the vehicle that we kind of told customers it'll look like this.
It looks so much better.
And then you look at where we are at now versus where we're at here. And what do you guys think?
No comparison.
Do you want your money back?
No.
You sure? I'll give you your money back, especially you bought first 500 guys. You want your cars back? I'll give them to you right now.
Actually, I was the first one at Sand Sports.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
I was the first one to purchase a car at Sand Sports, and that's what I saw. That the yellow one.
And you were into it, right?
Oh yeah, I was into it.
And you thought that was the cat's meow.
Yeah, it would be my first side by side. I was always in a Funko before that, and I was really sold on it. And I can't believe the difference between the two cars.
Of where we started and where we end up.
Where I'm at, yeah.
So this has been a long process for 3 years. Thank you for sticking with us. Like I said, you were the first customer
Yeah.
to buy a car, and appreciate you, bud.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thank you.